Day 5, fall camp had a really nice special feel to it. The media, we were asked to watch the entire practice again. And Coach Riley, he was focused in on special teams. We're going to talk about that on this episode of Locked On USC.
You are Locked On USC, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Holkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC, part of the Locked On Network, your first listen every day. Whether you're watching this show on YouTube, you already know you can pick a platform, you can download this podcast. This show is always free. This show always appreciates your support. Second consecutive practice that the media was allowed to attend, and we got to watch the whole thing. If you're an everydayer, you kind of got a taste of what I get to see on last week's episode, first day of camp. Let me pull this up. I'm going to give you a little bit more video here. So while I'm talking, you can kind of follow along, see what I see. You're going to see some of the players walking out, and you're also going to see a little bit of what I'm allowed to film during practice before they ask us to turn the cameras off. So I'll narrate, you watch and enjoy. And if you're not watching on YouTube, make the time and you'll get to see what everybody else is watching. All right, so 7 a.m. practice, right? Day 5, team was back in shoulder pads. They actually were in the Coliseum on Sunday. So they're still, I guess, reaching up to that acclimation period. I would imagine the next time they hit the practice field, at least in the presence of the media, I think they're going to be in full pads. So I'll be back out there on Wednesday. Again, we got an email Sunday night. Hey, just letting you know, scheduling adjustment. You guys can watch the entire practice. But again, same rules that applied to date. The last time they asked us to do this. We're allowed to film the first 20 minutes or so, and then after that, we're not allowed to talk about anything that we see. Well, I'll get creative for you. I'll tell you, there's ways, there are certain things we can talk about, but it has to, again, be in very generic, benign terms. So I'm not going to tell you who beat who, any of that type of stuff. So just want to make sure that's clear. Now, the main reason why I get to practice so early before most people, there's a couple other guys who get there as early as I do, is I like to be able to see the players coming and going on their way to practice. Gives you an opportunity to see, the size, just kind of see what kind of mood everybody's in, so to speak. One of the players you might notice, I'm not sure if he's already come out yet. I haven't been really paying attention. True freshman wide receiver, Corey Sims. He is all 6'3", 205 pounds. Make no mistake, right? I have no idea if he's done growing or not, but he catches the eye for a true freshman, without a doubt. I also received an update on true freshman defensive lineman Gus Cordova. I got this from someone who would know. He said, "Hey, Mark, just want to let you know, Gus is over 280 pounds right now. In fact, he told me last week he's at 285 pounds. I know he's a workaholic. I saw him getting ready to show up to USC. He was constantly in the weight room, doing the right thing. So I have zero doubt that Gus Cordova is going to be one of those players for USC in the future. Also, while I was watching the USC defensive line do their thing, doing some work during the cameras are off and don't report anything you see portion of practice, it kind of dawned on me. I was like, you know what? Who does he remind me of? It's like, hey, that's Nick Figueroa. Remember USC defensive lineman Nick Figueroa? They're pretty much the same size. And I would say that Gus is probably a better football player than Nick at this juncture in their career. If we were comparing freshman to freshman, I think Gus Cordova is probably more advanced. I'll say this. I think there is something to the coaches when they say, the trained eye is coming. AJ Tuatele, Matai Tagoai. You look at those guys, you're thinking, man, they're going to get bigger. I'm curious a year from now, comparing their size, what they're going to look like. Because I was watching one of the repetitions last week I think it was Matai hit the blocking sled and the blocking sled won. So, yeah, maybe he was a little off balance. I don't know. The point that I'm trying to make, he needs to get bigger, stronger, and that'll happen naturally. But the longer he's part of the football program, using the weight program with Coach Truman Carroll, Lonnie Maddox leading the way, I think we'll be okay. Now, as far as practice, everyone that is on the roster was accounted for. I didn't notice anybody missing from practice today. And that includes DJ Wingfield, who is, hanging out with the team, albeit he wasn't in uniform, but he's just waiting his outcome. Ryan Karchi from the LA Times reported his case has been transferred to a new judge, James Selna, who then denied Wingfield's request for a temporary restraining order, but he set a hearing for August 18th in which the NCAA must show cause for why he shouldn't get an injunction. The judge intends to hear Wingfield's case and two other cases regarding the NCAA eligibility, including UCLA wide receiver Caden Robinson, in that same August 18th hearing. So the earliest Wingfield could actually get some positive news, it's 2 weeks away. I don't know if he'll be ready to play in game one. He probably doesn't need to be ready to play in game one. Let's just hope he gets that injunction, because that's the best thing that can happen, not just for him, but for the team as well. Most importantly, for him. If you watched yesterday's episode of Locked on USC, I gave you Coach Riley's comments. Yeah, he's a little hot under the collar when it comes to this whole situation. Not just DJ, across the country. Now, during the team's conditioning stretch that is led by Truman Carroll, Coach Riley, he spent his time with the return specialist. You might have noticed that already while you're watching this video. One of the drills that they were doing, the guys, they have a towel wrapped up in a rope, and they would hold it under their armpits like this. And the whole point of the whole, thing is keep the elbows tight to the body, secure the ball, keep everything high and tight. The punt returners on the day, you had Zacharias Williams, Makai Lemon, James Johnson. The kick returner group, you had Xavier Jordan, you had Eli Sanders, Waymon Jordan, and Josiah Zamora. Anthony Jones Jr., running back coach, was handling the kickoffs, or the kickoff return specialist. And then, like I said, Coach Riley was kind of going back and forth between the two groups watching. Coach Riley caught me filming him, watching special teams, and he started to walk over, and he was coming over to talk to me. And my first thought was, oh, shoot. He sees me. He's stopping what he's doing. Mark, what did you say? What did you do? Quick, think about it. What did you do recently? Is he mad? Wasn't any of that. He came over. It was just, we had a little special bonding moment. He kind of put his hand on my shoulder. He turned around. We were both standing right in front of the Bloom Football Performance Center. And he's like, Mark, the view from the top floor is going to be amazing. So, of course, I said, well, Coach, when are you going to give me a guided tour? And he's like, dude. And yes, he said, dude, they don't even let me up there right now. So we just had a nice little minute there where we were talking. I wanted to say thank you for allowing the media, to come out and watch practice for the entire time. And you know what? I think Coach Riley's more excited for that football performance center than the actual players or the recruits. He loves watching that thing, talking about it. I think that's going to be his second home. While I was watching the guys warming up, going through their position group drills, I found Jacoby Lane. Pardon me. He's continuing to do some coaching stuff while he gets up to 100%. He was talking to Harry Dalton. Said, hey, when you turn to open up to catch a pass, do it this way. Don't do it that way. But he is right now constantly encouraging his teammates, again, while he's working his way back to 100%. This is just my opinion. I don't know what the injury is, but if there was a game tomorrow, can't guard Jack, he's playing. He's playing. He's probably 94% ready. So I think right now they're just kind of, allowing the come along slowly. They know what they're getting out of Jacoby. Now, later during practice, I watched one of the defensive veterans. He actually gave Harry Dalton some props. He was like, "Hey, man, like the way you ran that route. Good job." You might have noticed when the linebackers were working on their backpedaling, covering in the flats, Coach Antonlynn, dude, throws a really nice spiral. He was playing quarterback while Rob Ryan was kind of evaluating the players, making sure they had their steps right. They were turning at the right time to break downfield, whatever. Something else, Adrian Clem, he's been spending a lot of time with the linebacker group. I told you, Coach Riley brought him along because he wanted to have an offensive mind influence with the defensive line. Well, he's making his rounds with all the position groups, I guess. You guys, some of you will recognize this phrase, no blocky, no rocky. Well, the running backs, they were working on pass protection against the linebackers today. Finally, I saw my first sign of tackling to the ground. Well, sort of. You were watching the video. You saw Trovon Reed, the cornerbacks. He had, a couple of poor souls there, playing the role of ball carrier. They would stand right in front of the big, crash pad. And one of the cornerbacks would shed a block and then, drive through, form tackling, taking the guy to the ground. So that was fun to watch. Always love seeing some physicality. What day are we on? Oh, so you're watching this episode on Tuesday. Monday was practice. Yeah. The media has been able to go to 3 practices so far, Monday being the 3rd. This was by far the longest of the day. I'm sure some of you growing up as kids, you played AYSO soccer. Remember halftime? You'd sit around, get the orange wedges. That's what it felt like when USC took a little bit of a halftime break during practice. The only thing missing were those orange wedges. So, yeah, had a little flashback to my childhood. The refs, they were back. You see them there in the background. They were back helping out. They had to have been former Pac-12 referees because they were flag happy. Maybe they were asked to be flag happy, but everywhere I look, laundry. After practice, Coach Luke Heward, quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, he spoke with the media. He obviously he was talking about Jaden Mayava mostly, and he said, you could just feel it with Jaden. He's more comfortable in his skin. He's more comfortable with his relationships with his teammates, in the locker room, watching the film, all that type of stuff. So there you go. It was a special team practice. Coach Riley was focused in on that. I had the special moment. And then they'll be back out there again tomorrow. The media will be back out at practice on Wednesday. I'm going to assume they're going to be in full pads by that time. Hoping they'll be in full pads. Because I'll tell you what, folks, we are 25 days away. 25 days away from kickoff. Missouri State beat the Bears. All right. So we got you know what I didn't do? I should probably get rid of this so you can see the rest of the rundown. Next segment, we're going to talk about the coaches poll that was just released. Yeah, not a whole lot of love for USC. It's been like that the entire off season. In the third segment, I'll give you some of my own player performance predictions. Let me, oops, sorry about that. So whether you, I don't know, if you're like me, you probably have a hard time managing your money, or you could probably do a better job managing your money. With Monarch Money, you can do it. Whether you're growing your savings, planning a big purchase, Monarch Money puts you in the driver's seat. It's kind of like having your own personal chief financial office. It's going to give you full visibility, total control over your finances. And Monarch Money is more than just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, all of your investments, all of your spending. You can do it all in one place. So in addition to managing your money, now you can start building up some wealth. My biggest challenge, managing my spending habits. If I have it, I use it. Probably not a great way to go about life, but that's me. Monarch Money makes that easier. If I can afford my own personal CFO, guess what? So can you. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com, and you're going to get 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. So the coaches, they put out their preseason poll, and apparently there's no room for USC in the top 25. Yep, that's where USC sits nationally among the coaches who, and I'm finger quoting this, vote in the coaches poll. Insider secret, in case you weren't aware of this, very, very, very rarely do the head coaches actually vote. They usually hand that off to some, a sports information director, maybe an assistant coach. Say, hey, go take care of this for me. Head coaches do not have the time to evaluate other programs. They are too invested in their own. The coaches poll means absolutely zilch, nada, nothing. But it's out there. It gives us something to talk about. And, when I'm looking at it, you're thinking, all right, why isn't USC in it? I'm going to go over the top 25 with you. Just give me a second here. So USC is the fourth team in the others receiving votes, which pretty much says the coaches have them at number 29 in the country before any games are played. USC is behind Oklahoma, behind Missouri, and Louisville. Louisville starting quarterback, Miller Moss. Yeah. The Trojans are going to face four teams that are in the preseason rankings. Okay. And all four of them are among the top 15 teams. So you have Notre Dame at number 5, Oregon's number 7, Illinois number 12, Michigan number 14, and then USC also takes on Iowa, they're number 33, Nebraska number 39. Here's a top 25 coaches poll. 1 through 5, Texas, Ohio State, Penn State, Georgia, Notre Dame. 6 through 10, Clemson, Oregon, Alabama at 8, LSU 9, Miami 10. 11 through 15, Arizona State, Illinois, South Carolina, Michigan at 14, way too high. Ole Miss at 15. 16 through 20, you've got SMU, Florida at 17, Tennessee at 18, Indiana at 19, Kansas State at number 20, Texas A&M 21, Iowa State 22, Brigham Young 23, Texas Tech 24, Boise State 25. So of that group, you've got 9 SEC schools. You have 6 from the big conference, 15 of the top 25. What I take away from this, they're going off last season more, why is ASU rated so high at 11? I get it. They like Sam Levitt. They've got a wide receiver. Cam Scattaboo was the guy who made that team go last year. He's gone. And I don't follow Arizona State recruiting that well, but I don't know. Just seems like they won the Big 12 conference last year, so they must be that good this year, right? I don't know. What did Miami do? Why are they in the top 10? Do they think that Carson Beck is just going to come over from Georgia and step into whatever Cam Ward did last year? Maybe. Why is Florida rated so high? Are you kidding me? Texas A&M? Iowa State? Texas Tech? Look, Texas Tech was transfer portal U during the offseason. I think they brought in I don't know. I'm not sure the exact number. I know one of them was former USC running back Quentin Joyner, former Stanford edge David Bailey. Did that push them over the top? Look, this is just another piece of propaganda. I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Another poll, something that USC's coaching staff can say, all right, we're going to put this right over here on the bulletin board, right next to everything else that we've been collecting all off season. Because right now, USC is getting zero love. Zero. None. Absolutely nothing. It's a common theme. Whether it was preseason All-American, conference All-American, preseason all-conference team, whatever. USC is just like, yeah, you guys aren't going to be good. If nobody anticipates them winning more than 8 games. 7.5 is the over-under. But where I have a problem with this, well, 2 schools that USC beat last year. LSU, Texas A&M. I get LSU being ranked that high. They return their quarterback. They always have a good roster on paper. But why Texas A&M? Why are they ranked ahead of USC? Going back to Florida, I mean, she's in Rice. Their starting quarterback, DJ Lagway, he's hurt right now. Last time I checked, Billy Napier is still their head coach. Yeah, well, without DJ Lagway, that is a program that is going to circle the drain. Sorry. So 9 SEC teams, whatever. Look, it's the Big 12. Is it that weak that ASU, Arizona State, is considered the 11th best team in the country? Michigan at 14, I'm sorry. They lost too much. You're starting a true freshman at quarterback. I get Bryce Underwood's supposed to be good, but someone explain this to me. Give me the common sense analysis. Bring crayons, dumb it down for me, because I don't get it. I really don't. I look at that poll and I'm thinking, yeah, these are just a bunch of SIDs, associate SIDs, assistant coaches, graduate assistant. Oh, these are my favorite teams. I don't like that guy, so I'm not going to vote for them. They really do need to get rid of the coaches poll. It's worthless. It has nothing to do with anything anymore. And it's the AP poll's not much better, but you can at least say, you know what? The people in the media, they watch the games. The coaches don't. Let's just put an end to that right now. Okay. One more segment to go. I'm going to give you some of my own player performance predictions before we start the season. I don't know. I've watched a few days of practice. I'm thinking, all right, I haven't seen enough, but I'm going to go out on a limb, give you guys something to talk about. Give me some feedback. Tell me what you think. It's time to fuel up, turn it up, get into that 5-hour energy transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavors of your favorite golf drink without the alcohol into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. And let's be honest, there's some days on the course, or even if you're off the course, you just need that extra boost to stay sharp, stay energized. I am not an avid golfer, mostly because I just really, really suck at it. I'm one of those dudes. Rip it, hope for the best. But I remember this one shot, and some might call it a fluke. I'm going to call it a well-calculated miracle. I knew what I wanted to do. There was an angel sitting on my shoulder. But anyways, I remember the shot. It was in the bunker, about 30 yards away from the pin. Hit it, and all of a sudden, I'm recording a 7 on a par 5. It was all good. So golf is all about good times, all about hanging out with good people, all about good flavors. The grape ginger lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse. And guess what? You're not going to go chasing down that beverage cart. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that's the number 5hourenergy.com. You can use my promo code LOCKEDONGolf, and you're going to get 20% off your first order. Your only order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders as well. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion-flavored 5-hour energy shots today. All right, so here's some of my way too early individual goals. These are for players. I think these particular players can reach these goals. And again, this is just kind of a random, I'm going to throw spaghetti in the wall. Let's see what sticks. We'll see how as we go through the season, we can come back to this and say, you know what, Mark, you were right. You know what, Mark, you were way, way off. So Jade Mayava, quarterback. I've got him throwing 30 touchdowns. I have him running for another 6. And look, he's going to throw 10 interceptions. If he's 10 interceptions or less, 30 touchdowns, I'll take a 3-to-1 ratio because you are now a really, really, really good quarterback. Jacoby Lane, he's going to catch 17 of those. Remember, last year he finished with 12. I actually think he can get close to 20. I'm going to go 17. 17 plus. How's that? Wide receiver Mekhi Lemon. He's going to go over 1,000 yards receiving. I think he'll have 8+ touchdowns receiving. I think he's also going to have another 600+ all-purpose yards. Don't forget, kick return, punt return. You can put up big numbers. True freshman James Johnson. I think he's going to emerge as a special teams guy. He's going to be that 1-2 punch. He's going to complement Mekhi Lemon. Going out on a limb, just saying. Wide receiver Zacharias Williams, the transfer from Utah. Utah's number 1 wide receiver coming out of spring camp, according to Kyle Whittingham, their head coach. I think he goes over 500 yards receiving. Waymon Jordan, he is going to rush for 1,000 yards. USC is going to have back-to-back 1,000-yard rushers. When was the last time that happened? Ronald Jones. Got to go that far back. On the other side of the ball, Cam Fountain, he's going to lead the team in sacks. I think Anthony Lucas is going to be second on the team in sacks. I'll say Cam 8. I'll say Anthony Lucas 7. Eric Gentry, he's going to lead the big conference in tackles. I think he's going to be top 5 in the nation when everything's all said and done. Let me remind everybody, during that Penn State game, he led the country in tackles to that point. Then he tried to avoid landing on the pile after the whistle. Tried to avoid, again, he landed on his head, concussed himself. He was out for the year. If he's healthy, he's a playmaker. Kamari Ramsey, speaking of playmakers, I've got him and Prophet Brown. Both of them, they're going to have at least 2 interceptions this season. I think the defense as a whole, in general, they're going to force 10 or more fumbles. You know, I went back and looked at the numbers. Hard to believe considering how crappy that 2022 defense was. Lincoln Riley, Alex Grinch's first year. USC led the nation in turnover margin. In 2022, I'm looking at these numbers. 14 games, they had 19 interceptions. They gained 9 fumbles. So they had a total of 28 turnovers created, recovered, whatever you want to call it. That was a plus 21 margin. They were amazing on turnovers. They just couldn't do anything else on defense. Statistically, they were terrible. So if they can get back to that, they don't have to do what they did in 2022. But, you know, give me 15 interceptions as a team. Give me 10 fumbles as a team. I'm good. I'm good. You're getting the ball back to your offense. And usually you're giving it back to them on a short field. So I'll take it. I'll take it. And I think you will too. And then since we were talking about special teams, why not? Caden Chittenden, the transfer kicker from UNLV, I think he'll be perfect on point after attempts. I don't know how many field goals he'll kick in 2025. However, I do think he's going to have a 50-plus yarder that's going to win a game for USC on the road. Prove me wrong. It could happen. All right, that's the end of this episode of Locked On USC. Thanks once again. If you're watching on YouTube and you haven't subscribed yet, click that red subscribe button. It's free. It's going to continue to help the show grow. Smash that thumbs up. Click that bell notification so you don't miss an episode. And when you're done watching Locked On USC, get on over there. Watch the Portal Show on YouTube. Brian Smith is your host. He'll keep you updated on everything that's going on in college football. And then when you're all done with the Locked On Network, head on over there to wearesc.com. We have so much good written content for you. You're going to love it. Everything that's going on with the team. And It's a great place to find the Inside the Trojan Huddle podcast that I'm a part of every week, that panel show. So until then, everyone, you know what to do.